Welcome to Starlight Talks. It's me, Chloe Stell. Don't have a guest this week, but I'm here to talk. So, as usual, leave any questions you have, and I'll answer as many as we can. This is Starlight Talks, where I try to talk about some subject related to autism, and I do these talks every Wednesday at 7 Pacific Standard Time. So come back next week. I'll probably have another one. This week I am sick. I got a horrible cold. And so if you don't understand me, I'm so sorry. I got a stuffy nose. But that's why I sound like this. So getting that out of the way. And so check out the website, OurTism.com. We've got all these social events coming up. We've got support groups every other Thursday. So many cool events. So go check that out. Register for all of them. Sign up for LifeMap. Sign up for all of our great things. And I also have a blog where I write about living on the spectrum over there. So go check all those cool things out. OurTism.com. Yeah. So this week I wanted to talk about failure because it's something that I've come across a lot just recently. And it's not just recently. I guess it's a topic that it's a question. It comes up a lot with people on the spectrum that I've talked to, and parents. So there's this like huge fear of failure that I've seen, and I know I used to have it. I know that when I was younger, and like communication was a huge issue. I remember like all the time being corrected and being told you don't know what I'm talking about, you don't know blah 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 blah, all those kind of things. Like I felt like I was put down, and people inherently knew things that I didn't. And so I started just responding to things with I know, because I was tired of being corrected all the time. I know a lot of kids do this, not just people on the spectrum, but I feel like it's very common to those of us who don't have the same type of processing as everyone else, because the answer that comes so easily to someone else doesn't come so easily to us. Other things come easily to us just because of the way we process the world. And so when you assume, because the way you experience the world, you kind of assume everyone else does. So you put that like, so it's easy for me to do this, so why is it also easy for someone else? And unless you are thinking about that, and even people that like understand this concept, which is a really hard thing to understand, that everyone experiences the world differently. If you're not thinking about it at the time, you're like, oh, everyone knows what I know. And so when you have a young person with autism who not only doesn't know what adults know, they also don't know what the neurotypical kids know, you'll get a lot of very defensive responses of things like, I know, even when they don't know what you're talking about. So like, oh, are you understanding what I'm saying? Yes, okay. Very dismissive. And that comes from this fear of failure, this belief that you don't need to ask for help, that you shouldn't have to ask for help, that you should be able to figure things out on your own, and that's not at all true. And so it took me a long time, and it took it takes, I think it takes everyone a long time to learn that you learn more from failure than you do from succeeding. And because I'm in the world of film, I failed a lot making films. And every time that I worked on a project and it didn't work out the way I wanted, I had to adapt and change, do things differently. And in doing so, I made a better project. And so for a while, I didn't look at that as failure is like, oh, I still created a project that I love, but but some people do look at that as failure. It's like, oh, I was trying to do this thing, but I ended up doing something completely different because I couldn't do that. It's like, so there's that reframing you have to do, or at least to look at failure as not a negative, as everyone's gonna fail. Like, it's inevitable, you're gonna fail at something. And and you're gonna fail a lot very early on. And so making failure comfortable and even fun is important, is I think, to start reframing failure as something that we do to learn things. And I think that school environment is never made it easy to fail. I know there's so many people that were afraid of just like popcorn reading or like answering questions because they didn't know the answer. It should be so great to not know the answer because you're in school to learn. Like, it shouldn't be scary to not know the answer to something that you haven't learned yet. And so I don't understand where teachers are teaching a concept and then they go, did you get that? Did you get that? Like, and points everyone out. Like, they should be like helping everyone and feeling like it's okay to fail. It's okay to not understand. That's why the teacher is there. And I feel like a lot of times you turn in homework and they grade it for correct answers when homework is a way to, learn a concept. And so if you didn't learn it, if you struggled with it and missed some questions, that should be okay, you know? And there's a lot of things in life that I feel like people look at it as like, well, if I jump in and try that, I'm gonna fail, or I might fail, and that's really scary. So, um, so I think it's important to like at least reframe and create a space for yourself where it's okay to fail. And then, and the reason I'm speaking about this is I talked about last week, I had my event where I was selling my photography this last weekend, and nobody bought from me, but like also nobody bought from any of the other vendors. And I could look at that as a failure, but I didn't, because I thought about how much I learned because I had never done an event like that, and now I know how to set up a booth, and I know the price range of things, and I know I met all these people who know about other events that are much better than the one I went to, people that want to do more projects with me, and I learned so much from it that now I'm ready to do future events. And so, yeah, there was like some stuff I lost out by doing that, whether it was money or other waste of time. I don't know, whatever, however you want to say I lost. There's like pros and cons to that, but like I looked at it as not quite a failure, as like I learned from it, and it's a great experience that we need to go through. And like so many of the things that I look back, and at the time maybe I thought like, oh, that was something I failed at. I didn't. Today I don't really look at it like that. Like, it's like a great story, or it's like something that really made me who I am, or I learned a lot about that kind of experience. And I grew from it. I've grown so much more from my failures. And so, and then having autism, there's like failure to like leave the house, or like failure to, like do like these smaller things, like, oh, I was trying to do laundry today and I didn't do it, and like executive functioning failures and all those kind of things. And so like you have to start being okay with failure, and it can get like really tough for people, like when you're too hard on yourself because you didn't succeed in everything. You didn't check off your whole to-do list. You didn't, do all the things you thought you were going to do it, or it didn't happen the way that you wanted it to. So that's so that's why that reframing is really good. Like looking at like what are the positives about the situation and looking at failure as more of a good thing and a learning experience and something that's making you who you are. And making, like, just feeling comfortable to fail and surrounding yourself by people in an environment that allows you to do that. Because if you're surrounded by people who are always telling you, like, you're not good enough and all those kind of things, and aren't supportive when you feel like, oh, you could have done better, blah blah blah. Um, that's not always helpful. That validation could be like, so you might need to find people who are supportive, or at least stay away from those people when you do fail, because they probably do have an important place in your life in other ways. So just, that's what I mean by creating an environment where you can fail, where if you're, there's going to be a tough situation. I know for me, like, going to the dentist is a tough situation. If I fail to go through the entire process of, like, scaling and all the stuff they do to my teeth at a dentist appointment, I'm gonna need someone there. And I normally say my dad, because he's able to be like, it's okay that you didn't finish, we'll come back again another time, those kind of validating things, rather than someone who would be like, just finish it so that we don't have to come back. Like, those kind of things aren't helpful. So $100 of people commented. Hi Debbie, hi Dad, hi Zoe, thank you guys for watching. Yeah, if you have any questions, please feel free to leave them. And I love answering questions. I love how interactive we were last week. And so I'm gonna restate that I have a cold, and that's why I sound like this. So if you have a hard time understanding me, I know I talk very different than the average person, as in, like, my pronunciation of things. And so I have this stuffed nose, so that I know it makes things really difficult. Because my tongue is placed differently. Well, not placed differently. It moves differently because I used to have a tooth in the roof of my mouth, and so it avoids that area. So it believes there's a ghost tooth there that's gonna continue to cut it. And I've been working on that since I had it removed. But yeah. What was I talking about? I'm off topic now. Yeah, I have a stuffy nose because I have a cold, and I'm still doing this, so I'm very proud of myself. Hi, Patty. Thank you for joining. Thank you all for watching. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm struggling to find guests for Starlight Talks. So if y'all know anybody who wants to come on, please message me about that. I'd love some help. Or if you guys have any guests from the past that you'd love to see again, please let me know. I love your guys' suggestions. Thanks for all the responses last week. Oh, Zoe says, you are amazing for showing up with your cold. Thank you, Zoe. Yeah. So my birthday's coming up. I'm turning 23 on the 21st. So I'm really excited about that. Oh, Judy has a question. She said, did you struggle with perfectionism as part of dealing with failure? No. I would not say that. I was one of those people that needed to be perfect. I did struggle with motor function. I didn't know that for a long time. So my handwriting was really messy. Starting off, like, really early in school, I struggled with math. I struggled, like, my grades were never, like, perfect. And my parents always taught me, like, trying your best is more important than getting the grade. or like I would be. My family has a lot of artists, so I was uh, always surrounded by people like it's okay to make mistakes in your art, and like you learn more from that. So I don't think I was ever a perfectionist, but I did have a couple things that I needed perfectly the same, if that makes sense. So like I talked about like my picky eating, where I wanted my meals at the same time every day and the same meal made the same way. Like there was a proportion of like peanut butter to jelly in my sandwich, and the type of bread and the size of the sandwich, and like all those kind of things were really important. Um, but as far as like me being perfect, like I wore whatever was comfortable and did whatever was comfortable for me. I didn't really care what other people thought. Um, I had selective mutism because of the way people shut me down when I talked. Not that like I cared that they didn't like what I said, but it was like they interrupted me and I had slow processing, and so I got to a point where I felt like people didn't care what I had to say, not that they were judging what I had to say, if that makes sense. And so I'm like, if no one's gonna actually listen, um, that shut me down. And so I only really talked with my immediate family because I knew they listened, and one-on-one with different friends. Um, but I really didn't talk at all in class. So today I'm I guess I put more effort into like trying to like write neater and like do more of that. But I never struggled with perfectionism, but I know that I had friends that dealt with that and who still deal with that. And it does come from that, normally that fear of failure. And so like yeah, I had a friend who I worked with on her homework because she was younger than me, for like a few art projects, and she spent so much time. I saw her work for like hours and hours on this one piece, this drawing. They helped her out with it, and she had to redo it over and over and over. There was a certain way she wanted it to be, and she couldn't get it. And we worked together on it, and she could get really frustrated with herself for not being able to do it. And we worked on just mostly being calm and being like, it's okay that art's not perfect. It's okay, you're learning, that kind of thing. Um, and I found out why she was kind of that way, because she turned in her project and came back to me and said that the art teacher, um, you she said she wrote on it that it took her this amount of time because the project was like you have to do these many hours of sketches, not you have to make this sort of project. So she wrote like, oh, I worked on this for like 2 hours, or I worked on this for like, it was like a long amount of time. And then she's like, oh, it doesn't look like it took you that long. And only gave her like 10 minutes or like something like that for the project. And so I was like, oh, now I kind of understand how that mentality starts when you're discredited in that way. So when she worked with me for a while, she started to get out of that mindset, at least when she was with me, and we worked on different art projects and different films together. Um, and she was really cool. um, and oh, Jacob, hi Jacob, my number one fan. Hello. um, yes, because Chloe is on. Hi. So Judy says, I have an 11-year-old who gets frustrated and angry if she can't do things well the first time. What encouragement can I offer her to move getting past things right the first time? I know I did struggle with asking for help, and like when I didn't know things. I remember like with my parents, I would like be doing like a math. It was mostly math because that was super frustrating for me, where I felt like I understood the concept and be finished. And they're like, you got all of this wrong, let's do it again. And I'm like, I just want to be done. Like, it's super frustrating. And they would try to show me, I'm like, that doesn't make sense with the way my teacher taught it. And I'd be crying and I'd get really frustrated and angry. And it was a really emotional experience. So it's really scary when, like, not knowing things, and the amount of things that kids don't know is a lot, and they're talked down to a lot, and they're like, dismissed a lot. So I think just mostly validating, I know this is hard, and taking a break for a moment and like regulating your feelings and acknowledging like you're going through a tough moment before digging into it. I think it's more of like that emotional experience of like letting her know she's safe, and it's safe for her not to know things, and it's safe for her to struggle um in that whatever area she's struggling in, that kind of thing. Um because there's like with autism, a lot of times that fight or flight instinct goes off like super fast for us when we don't understand something. That can be a huge trigger, especially at a younger age. And so um, grounding her, letting her know she's safe, number one. Moving on from there is just like making whatever she's doing this fun, interesting, and safe. Like those are like, I would say, the key components of that. Um, where if it's like busy work, that's, I don't know if that you get that same reaction, but it's more like I don't want to do it. But if it's like something important to learn and something, um, I guess it's just like when you're trying something new, it can be really scary, and like assuming that everyone else already knows it is also like you don't want to be judged for not knowing, you don't want to be uh I don't know. I hope this is helping. So just like letting her know that there's gonna be no judgment, there's gonna be, you know, that she's smart and intelligent and all those kind of things, so that her fears of like being dumb or being, not good enough, all those kind of things aren't validated. um, and then if she's in defense mode, then like none of this is like gonna help. It's like getting her out of defense mode first. If you know what that is, um, check out, if you don't know what that is, check out aspergerexperts.com, AE, and search defense mode on their website, and all these videos and articles will come up. Super helpful. But it's a state of mind where you think the world is against you, and it's very common. It starts between like 11 and 13 years old. So so starting there, getting out of defense mode, and then when these situations happen, validating that it's tough, and helping them, ground them, let them know they're safe, let them know how to deal with emotion, recognize it, be with it, reframe, all those super helpful tools I've talked about in the past. If you don't know what they are, let me know and I'll go over them again. Yeah, there's pretty much just teaching her how to deal with the emotion rather than teaching her what she needs to know at that moment. Like, start there. Because you need to be in a state of mind that is grounded before you can learn something. You need to feel safe to learn, and that's something that we often skip that step. If you don't feel safe, then you can't learn. You literally can't if you're not in the right state of mind. So if you're teaching her and she's getting more and more frustrated and emotional, it's just like her learning ability has stopped, and it's just gonna get worse if you push the learning rather than the emotional regulation. So and for each person, emotional regulation can be different, but the best thing to do is to sit and be in that emotion and allow that emotion to happen, and let it pass. And that's like, don't fight the emotion, let it happen. And that can be really scary for us, those of us on the spectrum. It can be scary for anyone, but those of us on the spectrum feel emotion physically. We have physical reactions to it, whether that's fighting, running, our skin crawling, needing, like it flapping, stimming, blinking. There's a physical reaction, and it needs to come out. That has to happen. So whatever that physical reaction is, letting that happen, letting the emotion pass, and allowing that to flow so you can move on. And then reframing the situation from I'm going to fail to it's okay to fail, and it's I'm safe, and reframing it to a positive point of view rather than I'm going to fail, it's going to be bad, and all the negative things that your mind is focused on. You got to move it to the other side and reframe the situation. So like the most common things go, oh yeah, I had like, okay, it was my birthday and it was a really nice day, and then at the end there was a fight. And so if you were to get all emotional about it, your frame of mind might be, oh, why couldn't whoever it was that you are in a fight with just let me have my birthday? Like that's so frustrating that we had to have a fight on my birthday. Where if you reframe that, like most of the day was really, really great, and it sucks that there was this one hiccup that happened, but we got through it, and I had a really nice birthday overall. So you have like that kind of reframing of a situation where you look more at the positives, and that's helpful to get through the emotion. I'm talking with my hands a lot today. That's interesting. I just need to move. Yeah, thank you for that question, Judy. I hope I answered it. I love getting questions. So yeah, that fear of failure is natural, and letting that emotion pass, and over time, you'll get to a place that you'll be more okay. It'll take a while though. So yeah, dealing with that kind of fear, or any kind of fear, takes a while to know how to recognize it and how to overcome it, and live with it. So trying to come up with an example of my fear of failure. Well, I can't think of situation, but I'm sure it's happened. But I can think of like the opposite of things that like I could have looked at as failure, but I didn't. Like I left college early, actually twice. There was actually a semester that I didn't even finish, and I had a very emotional reaction to leaving both times I left college. But I never looked at it as I failed. I looked at it as like, this is not the right place for me right now. And that's really how, like, it's so natural to me to look at situations like that, because I worked on that over time. So, all right, does anybody have any more questions? I love answering your guys' questions. hope we're halfway through. I might end this early because I don't have a guest, so it's just me trying to push through unless I get questions. Yeah, so I don't think I have any more to talk about failure unless you guys have any questions for me. And you don't have to ask questions about failure. You can ask anything related to autism, me in general. And I have a cold. I'm so sorry. Yeah, thank you guys for watching again. Check out do I have a blog on failure? Hold on, let me check. I feel like I would well, I have one on fear called The Land of Fear of What Ifs, if you want to look at that. I have I don't think I do. Yeah, I don't have one on failure. Maybe I should write one. I'll wait a few minutes and see if anyone has any questions. There's Luke's tail. That's my sister's servant's dog. He's normally in her room. That's why you don't see it very often. And that's my dad's foot. He was on last week's episode. You should check that out if you haven't. That was a good episode. We talked about a lot of childhood stories on there. Well, thanks guys for watching. Check out OurTism.com. I have blogs up there where I write about living on the spectrum. We have support groups every other Thursday. We have pizza and game night socials every month, and we have an excursion every month for our social programming. So if you want to join us for those things. We also have a fantastic program called Life Map, where you can set goals and work toward them with a life coach, and they will help you figure out the logistics of actually completing it step by step. Because we like things in the small, simple steps. So if you have a goal of something big or something really simple, it's really helpful to have someone that helps you actually figure out how to do it. And so I love that program. It's great. I think that's everything we have. Yeah, check out OurTism.com. Come back next week for another live stream. I do Starlight Talks every week, Wednesday, 7 Pacific Standard Time. So back next week, see whatever I'm talking about then, if I have a guest. Yeah, if you guys have any guests that you would like to see come back again, or have any new people you want to recommend to be on here, let me know. Yeah, or any topics you want covered. I love your guys' suggestions. It's really helpful. All right. Yeah, Sonia says that I need to remind you that for Life Map there's a free 30-minute consultation where they will let you know all about it and how they can help you and how you can use it, all those kind of things. So you can be the coach. Oh, we have also the mentor program. I forgot about that. I'm a mentor. So yeah. you for watching. Stay colorful. Bye-bye.